Control the Controllables, live from New York City. We've had a couple of technical issues, which, hey, it's the start of a new Grand Slam. Why wouldn't we? I guess so. Hopefully, you're now picking it up. Anybody that is listening, please do get your questions in. This is going to be the first of our series. We're going to have plenty coming your way over the next couple of weeks. As ever, brought to you by Novelis. And yeah, we're gonna be talking a lot of tennis, a lot of what is going on. We do have already today. We've already started the Grand Slam, the qualifying event, but specifically the mixed doubles is what we're going to be looking at. And I'm going to be bringing in Will Buchek in a minute from Tennis Tribe, who big supporter of doubles, does amazing things for the world of doubles. We've had the qualifying event to talk about. I want to give you a little bit of the down low on what the mixed doubles is about, what it's standing for. And then from there, we're going to then go into, we've got main draw starting tomorrow. We'll get into some predictions as well. And Will, a big welcome. How you doing?
I'm good, Dan. Thanks for having me back on.
No, and thank you as ever, one, for coming on, and thank you as ever for everything that you are doing for tennis, but also specifically for doubles. You know, it's a sport that we're all very, very passionate about, and I know we've got a lot of our different things going on currently in the world of doubles, but I'm excited to see your picks, your selections, and now that we're through to the main draw. I noticed you didn't have too much luck today with some of your picks. I'm not gonna blame you for giving my team the kiss of death, but you don't want Will's selection if there's any players out there listening. But yeah, I guess the starting point, and we will jump in to the matches today. We'll jump into the matches tomorrow. Obviously, some very exciting matchups, I think, that nobody can deny coming our way tomorrow. And also, we'll jump into how many Grand Slams have been won by the players that are in the draw, and also the players that aren't in the draw as well. So to start us off, Will, imagine someone's listening to this and they have no idea. It's the US Open Mixed Doubles Championships. I guess before that, it used to be a sign-in. You would sign in, you would pick your partner. It would be a draw of sometimes 32 teams, previously maybe even 64, and kind of off you went. And I know I had the pleasure of watching Harry Heliavara and Anna Danilina winning the mixed doubles, which happened actually before. That happened on the Saturday. That final was the Saturday at the end of the event, but now it's been moved into fan week. It's been moved into qualifying week. Give us a little bit of the down low on what they're doing with the mixed doubles now here at US Open.
Yeah. Last year was the first year for them to do this. It's very, I don't know. I kind of called it like experimental. Last year when it first came out, it was pretty controversial because basically the idea behind it is to draw more single stars into the mixed doubles draw. So historically, like you said, the mixed doubles draw is during week 2 or week 3, I guess you'd call it now, of the US Open or any Grand Slam event. And the top singles players are still playing singles, right? They're not entering mixed doubles. So to get them to enter mixed doubles, you have to make it during week 1 or fan week or qualifying week, whatever you want to call it. Then you have to increase the prize money. So last year, the mixed doubles prize money, I think, increased like 5-fold over the previous year or something. It was just a significant increase. And then you have to shorten the format because they're preparing for their singles tournament, right? So you have to make it very easy for them to play. So you switch to no ad, fast 4 sets, 10-point tiebreaker for a third. You make the draw size only 16. Then you get to enter on your singles ranking, which, you know, we've talked about in the past doesn't make sense if sport is a meritocracy, which I know you've talked about here on the show as well with Calvin. But that's what it became last year with only one doubles specialist team in the draw, which was the defending champs. They won it last year. And then this year they've decided to add on a qualifying draw, which you attended today, that was primarily comprised of doubles specialists, who most people who understand doubles and understand tennis consider the favorites now going forward into this round of 16 main draw.
Yeah, and actually today there was I just did my maths on it, and if I'm accurate, Will, there was 43 Grand Slam doubles titles between all of the players on Grand Slam today. And pretty much, that goes between nine of the players. So Siniakov has won 11, Mladenovic 10, Pavic 7, Dabrowski 4, Heliavara 4, Patton 3, Routliff 2, Glasspool 1, Christian Harrison 1. You then had a couple of these mere mortals like Krunic, who's only made two finals. It was
The most
kind of it
stacked
was
qualifying draw in the history of
oh,
tennis.
in the qualifying. Now, I guess the question is, I did speak to Eric Budarak today. I do like
Mhm.
Eric. I like that Eric has the right conversations. He's not afraid to take on those conversations. He was feeling good because he also had Roger Federer just about to walk on to Ash for a night with Roger, which I think we all loved seeing Federer there today. So he kind of had the big smile on his face, rightly so. And one thing he said is, he said, "Look, I was a doubles guy, but at the end of my career, when people ask me about the matches, one of the things I remember is playing against Rafael Nadal." And that was kind of his talk, which I respectfully told Eric. I respect this event. For me, as an event, I think it's an amazing event actually. And like tomorrow, we've got Patton Siniakova against Djokovic Sabalenka. I mean, how cool's that? We got
Mhm.
Alcaraz Williams against Glasspool Routliff. Like we got like these like amazingly exciting matches. But you mentioned the word meritocracy. Our sport is built on that, and the fact, and I said it again to Eric today, that it's the fact that you're calling it the U.S. Open mixed doubles that's my issue. If
Mhm.
this is an exhibition event that is selling the sport, but to you, who's a doubles fan, and you're obviously a doubles advocate, and your world is doubles as well. In terms of how you're living your life, like myself. From coaching it, from all of the data that you do. How do you find the event from an entertainment standpoint, and do you think it's adding value to the tennis world, and also adding value to the doubles world?
Yeah, I certainly find it entertaining. I remember last year I didn't know what to expect going into it, and during that day and the day after, I was I was so excited and like amped up for Irani and Vavasori, Like I was rooting for them. Usually when I'm watching at a tournament, that's Cincinnati last week, right? Like I'm enjoying the product. I'm enjoying the doubles. I'm enjoying the shot making, the tactics, the partnership, the communication, all this stuff. But in this case, I'm actually rooting for teams. So it's a little bit different for me, and it's fun to cheer for a team in sports, right? So
Yep.
I get a little more kind of excited, a little more elevated in terms of my emotions with this mixed doubles format. So it is entertaining for sure. But you're right. I mean, Siniakova said herself, if you didn't listen to her post match after the first match, you should definitely listen to it. But she said herself, let me find the exact quote here. Um,
Was awesome.
she said, it seems I need to do more and more because I'm still playing qualies. So, like, they were talking about her being number one in the world, right? So she talked about how her and Patton being number one in the world are going through qualifying, and yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like in terms of the meritocracy, in terms of like what sport should be, but in terms of an event, and I know a lot of people call this an exhibition event. The U.S. Open doesn't, but if it were called an exhibition event, it's a great product. It's very entertaining. The contrasting styles is super fun to watch. So my favorite matches from last year was watching Vavasori just apply pressure on like Taylor Fritz trying to return Irani's serve, right? Like that's so fun to watch because Irani has a very soft serve that somebody like Taylor Fritz should be able to rip, but then Vavasori's sitting there up at the net, kind of faking and moving around and picking off the returns and forcing return errors. So the contrasting styles is a lot of fun to watch as well. So I think overall, yeah, I mean, it's certainly an entertaining product. Now, what I'm concerned about, I guess, and maybe concerned is the wrong word, but what I'm curious about, if this happens, we've got a scenario now where we could end up with 4 double specialist teams in the semifinals, right? I think it's unlikely because of the format, and this format is so short. It is more of a
It's a
kind of
crapshoot. It's a
coin
crapshoot.
toss.
to a
Yeah,
degree.
it's
It
kind of
is.
it's a little bit up to chance a bit more than if it were a longer format. I actually listened to your conversation with Hanlon from Cincinnati earlier today, and that's going to go live tomorrow. And you talked about how Gabby's done better in the majors because you have you have a full third, right? So this is an even more condensed version of that. But in this scenario, if all 4 double specialist teams make the semifinal, then what's going to happen, right? Because the idea to sell this to ESPN was to get the single stars playing. But if the last 2 rounds are all double specialists, then it doesn't quite work. It kind of backfires a little bit. So I'm not
Well, it's a
sure.
disaster. It's a disaster for the tournament.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I,
think
I, I won't
so.
say who said I won't say who said it because I don't want to throw someone under the bus. But I was told last year if Heliavara and Danilina are playing against Melakar and I don't remember what it was. Let's say Melakar and Aravello in the final. It is a complete and utter disaster for the deal that they've done with ESPN.
Yeah. So like that's likely to happen now, right? Like we've got 4 teams all in different quarters. Like I don't think all 4 of them will make the semis just because of the format, like we said. I think one of them's going to get unlucky, lose like
Come
3
on,
or
then
4 out of 4.
let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. Sabalenka Djokovic against Siniakova Patton.
Well, this one's the easiest pick for me. I mean, Siniakova Patton, the way they look today, and then listening to Katerina talk after that first match, she plays her best tennis when she's like a little aggravated. And she is aggravated right now that she had to go through qualies. So I
And so is
think,
Henry. I've never seen energy like Henry
yeah.
showed.
Well,
I
I
mean,
know
Henry,
Henry wants to win this thing. Yeah. Yeah. So,
and
I
you know
think
what else?
they
He
win this
went,
match in straights.
yeah, you think straight?
I think so.
It's so easy to lose a set, though.
It is, but like if they play this match 10 times, they win it in straights. I think 5. They win it in a third 3, and they lose it in a third twice. So like,
Okay,
so,
so we got
you know,
Siniakova Patton moving on to
yeah.
play the winner of Svitolina Monfils Iala Felix Auger-Aliassime. See, that kind of balls me, that match. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I don't even know how to
Kind of
pick
does.
that. I picked Iala and Felix. I don't have a particularly good reason other than I think they're both. Well, Felix is better than Monfils, and I think Iala can hang with Svitolina. So
And then the
that's all I
way that
got.
they're doing it is kind of back to back. So then that would be the quarterfinals tomorrow. So I guess with Siniakova Patton are making their way through that, huh?
Yeah, I mean they got a good path through with no doubles players in their quarter, right? So
Okay.
they have the easiest path through probably.
Bencic and Gaboli against Townsend Zverev.
I mean Townsend is the best doubles player on the court, right? So I think she and Zverev should win that, should go
Bencic and
through.
Gaboli won the mixed doubles in Indian Wells.
Did they? Okay. So
They
so
beat
this was something I
Glasgow and
wanted to talk
Dabrowski in the
about is the
final.
Indian Wells. Okay. Yeah, I did not see that because I don't think it's televised, and I left before it was over.
What it took, and this is the thing that I would always say, Will, is
Yeah.
doubles normally wins, but sometimes tennis will win. So
Yeah.
so what I mean by that is like if we take the Indian Wells final, Kaboli probably played a 9 or 10 out of 10.
Mhm.
Bencic played a 6. Dabrowski and Glassball played a 6 out of 10, and they won 10-7 in the third. But it took like 5 ridiculous forehand winners from Kaboli, like at like 100 mile an hour, just over the net. First serves at 138. Like it took a special performance by Kaboli to win.
Mhm.
So you'll sometimes, so what we might find tomorrow, you might get a Sabalenka or a Djokovic put in a special performance, right? And,
Yep.
and when I say special performance, we're talking like if I take Gabby and Harry today, they were serving at 8-7 in the tiebreak, and it was Harry serving. And then
Yeah.
they lost 2 points on the serve. Like
Mhm.
the margin's that small, or even Henry and Siniakova against Tatiana Maria and Vachereau, they had a sudden death juice point at 3-2 in that set,
Yeah.
where Henry, and then in the semi-finals serving at 3-2, they were love 40 down on Henry's serve, and he won 4 points in a row. So like that's kind of the best doubles players in the world kind of normalized doing that sort of thing. Like
Mhm.
Henry's unbelievable at doing that. Like he's done it time and time again. But somebody serves big, someone comes up with a couple of big shots. Like a Kaboli's got a chance to do that. I would put Kaboli a better player than on the doubles court than Zverev. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's an interesting one, but probably you think Townsend would get them over the line. But Bencic is a sneaky good doubles player as well, actually. So
Yeah.
that
I
one
wouldn't be
that one
shocked
that
either
one's
way in that
interesting.
one, but yeah, I'm just gonna stick with my doubles people for now.
Serena and Carlos
Yeah,
against Erin and
this
Lloyd.
one, I think Aaron and Lloyd are gonna win. I don't think Serena's like at Serena level. Right? She's like older and just coming back, and um, yeah, I think Aaron and Lloyd should win. But this one, and same for, I think less so, but still similar for Siniakova and Patton. Like the crowd's gonna be against them in a big way, and like that might matter. So the question isn't like who's the better team. Like I know who the better team is, but like is Arthur Ashe Stadium gonna freak them out a little bit in a big point, you know? And if that happens, like yeah, anything can happen. But I'm gonna stick with Aaron and Lloyd.
It's the first service game. It's kind of you walk out. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of excitement for Carlos Alcaraz right now, and obviously Serena's not. It's Serena's first. It's her first appearance here for many years. So
Hmm.
there's gonna be that one in particular. I think more so than Sabalenka Djokovic. I think the crowd are going to be going crazy in that match.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now Erin Erin has played against Serena twice this year, so this is Serena's
Yeah.
fourth match. 3 of them are
That
against
helps.
Routliffe. So I
Yeah.
think that does help. I think that helps
Yeah.
her.
It definitely
Um,
does.
Lloyd's obviously played big matches. He's played Wimbledon final. He's got those sort of things. So, and then what about then Erin and Lloyd against Townsend Zverev?
Uh, I'm gonna stick with Aaron and Lloyd. Yeah, I thought
So
they
that
played great today. Um, Lloyd's serving good. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with them. You
so
know where I'm
Erin and
going.
Lloyd.
you
I
you
know
know
where
my
you're going.
picks.
So there we go. Then we've got then Mladenovic and Aravello have got in as lucky losers.
Yeah, I was
Which
excited to
doesn't
see that. Yeah.
yeah. That didn't hurt me as a coach at all when I saw that. It was what it was obviously pleased for them, but you think and win that we get through that first round. Mukova Mensik they play in the first round.
Yeah. I think Mladenovic and Arevalo should get through that. I think that's a tough one though. Mukova's good at the net, right? She's got good
Mukova can
hands, a
play
great volleyer,
doubles.
and Mensik can play some doubles too.
He
Um,
can. He can. Big
so
header, big
uh,
server. That's not easy.
that's one of the best probably singles doubles teams in the draw.
It is. That's a proper. I would call them a proper doubles team. Like they play
Sure.
doubles.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
play doubles. The next ones, I'm not sure any of them do. The All American matchup of Emma Navarro, Tommy Paul, and Nisimova and Lerna Tien. Again, to me, that's a boring match.
Yeah. To me too. I think I picked Anna Samova and Tien in my initial pick. I'll stick with it. They're the third seed, right? They should win.
And then they're going to go down to Milanovic Aravello. We then got What about Rublev returning Irani's serve?
That'll be fun to watch. He's a good doubles player, though. Like he's had some good doubles results in his career, right? And one of the
As is
things I
Andreeva.
think, yeah, and Andreeva as well. She's improved a lot on the doubles court. I think over the years as she's gotten older. But Rublev, he takes the ball so early that it makes it difficult as a net player, right? So he's a very his singles game. He's like the opposite of Medvedev, where you like stay way back behind the baseline and the net player has tons of time to read the ball. Rublev is stepping in and taking it early all the time, which makes it more difficult. So I think he's actually, even though he's a singles player, like his singles player kind of favors the doubles court a little bit more so than some of the other singles players. So I think that's a tough first round matchup. I think Arana and Vavasori win it, but I think it's a tough one.
And maybe one thing here I do also think, Will, is Vavasori isn't full of confidence right now, and I think timing is a lot. I personally think he's been a little bit distracted. He was kind of leading the charge during Wimbledon period with this announcement that the ATP made. He's on the board, he's on the player council, so he's having a lot of back and forth on that. I know internally. And these are
Mm-hmm.
the sort of things we don't always see with players. Irani's also okay. I know she did well in Toronto with Malakar, but she doesn't have Paulini by her side. There's just a bit of a shift up. It feels that maybe, like, I'm going to go and say this now. I don't think they're going to win the title. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
this is a I don't think this is a Vavasori and Irani of 12 months ago, or even probably a Vavasori and Irani of 3 months ago. Obviously, I have nothing but respect for them two. They're two of my favorite people in the world. They're awesome. They're amazing. Um, but that's a one that, if there's going to be like a little doubles upset, that I don't want it to happen. But it's I think I think that could be a little bit of a challenging match for them if they get through and then they start to get the fire like they had last year. They took the doubles world on their shoulders, so that's
Yeah.
also interesting. Now that there's a few more doubles pairs, it's not quite just them. um, and that's going to be interesting. Then, obviously, the winner of that match, again, it's interesting if Pagula's going to turn up and play. I mean, fair play to her. Pagula
No
obviously
kidding.
just finished in Cincinnati yesterday, but she seems like
Yeah.
the sort that just she sticks to her word, and she'll be there. And she's obviously we could take her on the team doubles anyway, Jess Pagula, with her
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. She's had some great doubles results. Yeah, I would imagine she's kind of gassed. So I picked Schneider and Rude in this one. And I wouldn't blame her. Like, I don't know how interested she is in playing mixed doubles for 2 days in a row after Cincinnati. And then I know she wants to win the singles, obviously. So, yeah, I went with Schneider and Rude on that one.
And what are some of the things, Will, that you'll be looking for tactically? When these, I saw that you had a couple of tweets that went out there today on this as well. When you're watching the subtleties of doubles, you're watching Patton and Siniakova, you're watching Glasspool and Routledge, you're watching Vavasori and Arani. What are they
Hmm.
doing maybe on the court that anybody that's watching the mixed doubles out there tomorrow maybe doesn't jump in their eye, but actually, if you give them the subtleties, what sort of things should they be looking out for?
One thing I would tell people to do is when you're watching the points, don't follow the ball every point, follow the players for some of the points, right? So pick the server's partner if it's a double specialist, especially. And then watch the singles players be the server's partner too, and then look for the differences. You'll notice that they have different positioning, they have different movement during the rally, and then shot selections another thing. So I noticed that Vachereau was redirecting down the line more often than Patton was, right? Like Patton just stayed in the rally. He stayed in the rally because he knew that Maria wasn't going to poach, right? And
Yep.
Vachereau eventually got impatient. He goes down the line. Siniakova splits the gap with her volley, right? So little shot selection decisions like that. And then also positioning and movement, especially from that net player, because they're able to force so many errors and get into the right position for those volleys. And it's just a stark difference when you see these double specialist teams versus the pairs that are two singles players who don't really focus on doubles as much.
I think it was very interesting to me. I remember last year we were watching it in Monterey, and everyone, to be honest, was cheering on Irani and Vavasori. But when you see Vavasori's movement at the net after we'd been watching Jack Draper's, or after we've been watching Casper Ruud's, it
Yeah.
really is. I think our eyes get a bit spot. If you watch a lot of doubles, you kind of get used to, especially the guys, the movement that they have and the presence they have at the net, and how they are squeezing space all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that the contrast of that is massive. The other one that I saw a little bit today, actually, in a couple of big moments, and Neil Skupski had a there was a couple of times he had the forehand, which we know in men's doubles we're kind of a bit scared of the forehand because we can freeze anticipation with the forehand, we can add speed, we can manipulate the ball. And he went back to Lloyd. It was maybe 6-5 in the tie break. He had two forehands where he went back to Lloyd rather than maybe taking that aggressive ball at Erin. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a subtle thing. Um, and then eventually it went to his backhand and he tried to go to Erin, but then Erin's very good at the net, and she was able to play a good strong volley in that position, and actually find Louisa, and then they were able to then finish the point. And it's just those kind of small small little details. Whereas Henry Patton on the point against Vachereau and Maria, it was sudden death deuce. He had a good return cross, but then the ball came to his forehand. It was sudden death deuce. You don't actually see Henry Patton doing this in the other Grand Slams. He's one of the men that rarely pulls the trigger at the woman at the net, which is why I think his results haven't been so good in mixed doubles. But he just added a little extra spice on that one. A little bit at Maria's body, and Maria missed the forehand volley. So it's like just those little subtleties of, quite often in Grand Slams we see the man holding back a little bit. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that over the next couple of days in terms of the when you have the chance to finish the point. You've got to pick your right target. And that brings me into, Will, what your thoughts are. Is there a future in this format? Is this, and I'm not just talking about at Grand Slam level, I'm talking about, they have trialed it a little bit at Indian Wells.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, and I don't know if it ever got played, but they had a random mixed doubles event in Cincinnati last week. I don't know if you heard about this,
Mm-mm.
but it was advertised. If you were a first round loser, or you lost your first match in singles, then you were able to sign up to play mixed doubles at Cincinnati.
Hmm.
And it was an 8 draw. It was 50 grand for the winners. Decent money. 10
Mm-hmm.
grand just for being in the event split. And only 5 teams signed up. It wasn't filled. I know the number 50, and actually they didn't sign up as teams. They just were randomly signing up, and they were putting them with partners. And then
Mm-hmm.
what happened was the 5th team, they just selected who was in. It was Tamara Korpach and Daniel Altmaier just got put together, and they were told, "Will you can be an alternate, and we'll give you 5 grand each." but you have to be on site between Monday and Wednesday, 5 till 7, in case someone pulls out. And if I'm honest, I'd still, if anybody knows, let me know. I'm actually not sure if the event even happened. And
I
I
don't
was
know. I
there.
didn't hear about that. That's
But
crazy.
that but that would have been, they would have put about 100 grand into that event.
Yeah. So I think I'm trying to like play this like the possible outcomes in my head, right? Like that's how I think through these things. And I'm looking at what's happening here. Tiafo pulls out today. I think it was him. It was his team. I forgot who he was playing
Yes.
with.
Yeah, it
So
was.
then a lucky loser team gets in, and it's a double specialist team. So then, like if we play this over enough, the what happens is the singles players realize it's going to be a lot of work for them to start beating these double specialist teams, right? Like that's like the double specialist teams are typically going to win. So then all of the marketing and TV contracts like aren't going to hold up because you end up with a final with two teams of double specialists who aren't stars because we don't market doubles players to become stars. So then the only like way this works is if there's just no double specialist in it. Like in terms of like what the tournaments are after, which is money and TV contracts and all that, right? So like I'm not sure how this does work, blending the two.
What about this
I
then?
think
What about this, Will? People like contrast. I'm not. I in certain instances, like I don't like that currently on the ATP singles players are being played off doubles players and vice versa. I don't like that from a political standpoint. You know, that's like a distraction technique that's being used to get away from bigger issues. However, there's a reason people loved Borg and McEnroe, right? They're the good guy, the bad guy, good cop, bad cop. You know, we like to have those different things. There's a reason why Control the Controllables has 2,500 followers. We put Patton versus Opelka, you know, we put something up there and we ended up having a couple 100,000 views, right? We had like, there was all sorts of views, and you know, the engagement was massive because there's a reason you said last year you wanted Vavasori and Irani to win, because you had someone to cheer for. There was an emotion attached. What if we had some kind of almost Ryder Cup, Davis Cup, Billie Jean King Cup format, you know, and it was, you've got eight doubles players, and you've got the top eight singles players, the top eight doubles players, however we want to do it on both sides, and you actually run it like a team event. So you then you guarantee that you have the stars on the court who are the ticket sellers, okay, um,
mm-hmm.
but you also have the emotion. You have the emotion that builds up, to be able to who's got the bragging rights. I think that could be cool. I think you could have a cool format like that, you know. Because I'm with you. If they allow too many of the double specialists in, you're gonna that's a problem, and it's going to be interesting tomorrow. If we're sitting here tomorrow night talking about the four double specialist teams in the semi-finals,
Oh
I'm sure
God, I
we'll be
hope
having
so.
it. Yeah, well, yeah. I think it's highly unlikely because of
The
it takes
format,
a
yeah,
lot. The format makes that very difficult. But if we
yeah,
are, like you say, ESPN, there's going to be heads. Heads are going to be rolling, right? You know,
yeah.
the US Open and their deal is going to be, hold on a minute, guys. This is not what we. Who made the final last year, by the way? Irani Vavasori. They played.
Iga and Rude, Iga and
Okay,
Casper.
so it
Yeah,
probably, yeah, it probably satisfies, you know. So I do wonder if there is a way of playing on the emotions of that, and getting
mm-hmm.
a little bit of, you know, in a healthy way. I guess you could then argue Siniakova is currently 39 in the world. She's been as high as 32, 33 in the world. We shouldn't forget that either. You know,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
she a singles player? Is she a doubles player? You know, Pagula's been number one or two in the world in doubles. Is she a single? You know, so you could argue that, but I think if you do it on the rankings, and there was some kind of formatting done on that, but that is it's a true exhibition. We get away from that being called we get away from it being called the US Open mixed doubles. But I think
Sure.
there is a market there if they're smart on something like this. And I think
Yeah.
actually the one thing I give Eric a lot of credit for is I think this is a really nice time for an event. It's not the US Open Championships. I'll repeatedly say that. However, this is a nice time for an event. You know, there's a lot of fans that are on there. I think the US Open do a great job of providing that. I went out there and watched Federer hitting with Musetti in like a pretty much full, just in a practice session, pretty much full Arthur Ashe Stadium. You know, you're walking around like wow, and everyone's coming in for free, I believe, on these days. Tomorrow, tickets are going for, to give an idea, what does Ash hold? Ash holds 22,
24,
25,000, 24.
maybe 22,
Front
something like that.
front like close seats are going for $1,000 tomorrow.
Yeah,
Um,
I
up
believe
up
it.
at the top are going for $100. You know, whatever that quick maths is, it's there's a fair amount of money that's gonna come in, you know, from it. So you can't argue the fact that they've got Alcaraz playing, they've got Djokovic playing, they've got Sabalenka playing. Brilliant, amazing. You know, I'm all for it. I think it's highly entertaining. I think the summary of what you're saying is exactly right. You know, we as people that we love our doubles. We love and respect what they put into it. We want that to obviously show. The format's going to make that a little bit more challenging for that to come through. But I absolutely find it hard to believe we're not going to see Siniakova and Patton as the champions at the end of this. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think we end up with certainly two of these double specialist teams in the semis. I think three probably. Um, and as you were saying that, and as I was like looking at the draw earlier and thinking about like why do I get so emotional about this tournament but not the Cincinnati tournament or Wimbledon, or and it's for that reason. It's because of that like contrast and like, oh, I want to like I'm not even playing in this, right? But I want to prove a point to the Riley Opelkas and to the singles players, right? Um, but it reminded me of like a Ryder Cup kind of in golf, right? You've got the U.S.
Yep.
versus Europe, um, and that idea you have of having top eight singles versus top eight doubles, and it's a team format, and we could do, have them play a single set, have them play a double set, have them play a mixed double set, right? And I think it would work in terms of like the contrasting styles and creating a little bit of a rivalry. The problem with it right now with Ryder Cup, there's tons of fans of Rory McIlroy. Like he's a massive star. Scotty Scheffler's a massive star. We don't have any doubles specialists who are massive stars right now because doubles isn't marketed, right? So I think if you propose this idea to one of the tournament directors or the tour, they're gonna say like why we can just run this event with our top, like we can run Labor Cup or we can run this event with our top
But
16
Matt, well, but
singles players,
it's the emotion.
Yeah,
It's the play on this, right? I think when we find a fire, when we find that kind of, you know, you're waiting for it. I mean, could you imagine if Patton played Opelka in the double? Let's say Opelka, I don't know what he's up to. I think
yeah,
he's maybe injured, but let's say Opelka did play US Open and he's drawn against Patton first round. That's people want to see
yeah,
it. You know, it's like it's we that's how boxing works, right? It's all a bit fake and it's all a bit, but it's like if you've got genuine beef, or you've got like this genuine edge,
yeah,
that's what creates the competitive spirit that we love to see. Like on court today, when Patton and Siniakova won, people were shouting out number one, number one. You know, there was a
Yeah.
because it's a storyline, right? It's
Yeah.
so like that it's the contrast, that contrasting storyline, which again is why for me there is a big part of me that likes this event. There's a big part of me that likes this event. I think there's a space for an event like this. I just don't think we can disrespect our sport by calling it a Grand Slam. You know,
Right.
is my, everything that we do in our sport has to continue to be a meritocracy. That is the beauty of our sport. You earn your right for the space in certain events, and exhibition events. Absolutely, there's a space to grow our sport. Absolutely, brilliant, amazing. Like a night with Roger Federer tonight, sold out within an hour. Love
Yeah.
it. Amazing. Absolutely. Like you're playing a set with Randy Roddick, playing a double set with McEnroe against Agassi and Roddick, something like that. Absolutely brilliant. Amazing for our sport. Amazing for the fans. So good. But let's not call that doubles match tonight the men's doubles Grand Slam. Whoever wins that, right?
Yeah.
It's a meritocracy on how you get in, and that we have to protect with our lives. And that it's not for tonight. We've talked about it before, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again. But that's the same with the ATP stuff, right? It's like what I love about our sport is that you earn your right into draws. That is what inspires kids. That is what gives hope. That is what makes our whole ecosystem work. That's why we have academies. That's why we have clubs. That's why we have highly motivated coaches. That's why we have all of this, which we have to keep remembering is we're just the custodians of our sport at this stage, in this period, right? There was many before us, and there's going to be many after us. So we have to protect that, absolutely, that with our honor. But let's also keep creating these really fun, like the 1 point tournament in Australia. Awesome, amazing. Eyeballs on the
Yeah.
sport, brilliant. Get it out there. So that's where we're at. I don't know if this conversation is to continue. Let's see how it is tomorrow. Let's see if we are talking about 4 double specialist teams. Let's see if we're talking about 4 single specialist teams
There's
that
no way.
that are gonna my DMs from Riley
Oh, that would
Opelka are
ruin
going to
me.
be flying. But
That
if
would
that
ruin
does
me.
happen, then okay, let's
Yeah.
keep the
Credit to him.
let's absolutely, and let's keep, like, there's a little bit of needle, okay, and that's why I think there's space for that in our sport as well. There's talk like the Alcaraz Sinner rivalry misses a little bit of that. They're
Yeah.
like best friends and they're so nice to each other and they're amazing. But it's like, we want a bit of needle in our sport as well. And
This
I
is the
think we can play on
problem,
that.
though. This is one of the problems, though, Dan. And I know you probably have to run, but like we're kind of like a security guard in front of like a restaurant or a shop, right? Like every time we do our job, like nobody notices. But then the one time we like somebody gets past us, like everybody blames us, right? So like the one time when the singles players are going to beat the doubles players, everybody's going to be like, "See?" And then every time the doubles teams beat the singles teams, the singles players are like, "Well, I mean, they weren't trying that hard and they were just in the finals in Cincinnati and all this other, like there's all these excuses, right?" So like that's one of the other reasons I'm so like emotional and excited for this tournament, because I'm like, we can't lose, because then they're going to be like, "See?"
It's all, hey, there's no such thing as bad publicity. People talking, people talking about it is a good thing, right?
It
It's
is.
that would be my take on it. It'd be a good thing. Will, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I hope you have a smile on your face tomorrow night.
I hope
Let's do
so
a
too.
deal. If we do have 4 double specials, maybe we jump back on tomorrow night and have a
I'm
5-minute
in.
gloating session.
I'm in. We'll invite Riley.
Exactly. Well, he's invited. Open invite.
I know.
Anyone
I've
that knows
invited
Riley
him too.
Opalka many times. I've also offered to coach him. My private chats with him, I've said, I will coach you. You don't need to pay me. I will take 50% of your doubles prize money, but we will vlog it all.
That'd be
And
amazing.
the journey of Riley Opelka to world number one. I said, mate, you're not playing any singles matches. You're playing like 5, 6 singles matches the whole year.
Yeah,
Doubles is easier on your body. You're 7 foot. You
make it
listen to me.
happen.
I will get you to be a top doubles player. Are you in? And he just kind of laughed it off and said, "I'm being serious. You're gonna you complain about you can make more money that way. Imagine that. Imagine the marketing we could do behind that. The journey of Riley Opelka to world number one." To world number one. Netflix would buy that stuff. You
It'd
know,
be an
this
amazing
is so
transformation.
it's there. It's the offer. It's
I
an
love
open
it.
offer, Riley. It's an open
I
offer.
love it.
Thanks, Will.
Awesome,
Take
Dan.
care. We'll speak to you
Thanks. This
soon.
was a ton of fun.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. So big thank you to Will for coming on. A big thank you to you for listening. I hope you are well wherever you are in the world. Get your questions in. Let us know, what do you think about the mixed doubles event? We will have our US Open preview coming up in the next few days. Who's going to be winning the singles, the men's doubles, the women's doubles? You know, who do you see taking over the world? Can Carlos Alcaraz come back and do it? You know, who is going to be the stories to look out for? You get in touch with us. We will be in touch. But until next time, I'm Dan Kiernan, and we are Control the Control.